Hi guys, good morning. Mama Mita here, and today I am doing a different little project that I have never used a saw before. So this is going to be interesting. So
mild shock.
all right, so we have the area back here behind the RV. Let me see if I can flip this camera around so that you can see that. Okay, so now here is the area that's behind the RV. So that there is the septic area. And so, it's kind of ugly, but I did try to use some cinder blocks and try to block it, but I don't want to block it too much or those cinder blocks fall over because of the high wind here, because they could do damage to the septic system and stuff. So, because we're kind of pretty much, well, we are permanently parked here. So I don't want to mess up that. But what I have is I have this area you see right here underneath the ladder. And it goes all the way down like that. And it connects to the kitchen garden, which is in the cinder block garden number 1, okay? So what I did this morning is I got out here and I raked it and cleaned it up because, we have all those cats and stuff. And we had just basically laid down strips of wood and stuff. But somehow or another the wood moves around, the cats move around, and we didn't want them using the bathroom in this area. We want to keep this area kind of clean. So I got these oak pallets and I've been cutting them this morning to fit them down here. And what I will do is I will lay them all the way down here, and then on top of that I'm going to put some buckets, Home Depot, Lowe's buckets, I don't know, whatever buckets that I got that was donated to me. I'm going to use those, that I'm going to plant some more plants down here. I'm trying to use as much space as I can to do like a little block, bucket garden. We're gonna call this in the bucket garden video, I guess.
Just kidding.
Anyway, but I'm sure it will work because it's worked before at the care home. We used the buckets to plant all the tomatoes and the different like Brussels sprouts and tomatoes and some peas and things like that we had, because we had a lot of buckets and stuff. And so we used those on the sidewalk because we did not have really a good area to plant the garden until we made the square foot garden. Now the square foot garden is done with the wood. Well, we did it with wood, but it didn't really last very long. It only lasted for like a couple of years and it started to disintegrate. So at that point, that's, we tried to repair it, but then we pretty much, we moved away, and so now we're here at the RV area, and so that's why we got into the cinder block. But these pallets are free, and all I have to do is, cut them with the saw and stuff. So today is my first lesson on how to use a saw. So now, when you're using a saw, there is a lot of things that come into play that you have to follow. Make sure that you use these guidelines. Okay, so now here is my pallet, and before we get started, I want to talk to you about the tools of the trade, or the tools that I'm using today. First of all, you would need a tape measure, and then this saw is a very old saw. We've had it for so many years and stuff. So, there's newer ones out there, and you guys can probably wait till, they come on sale and stuff. If you don't have a saw and you're interested in saw, you could also borrow a saw or invite somebody over and for like the project and show, and ask them if they can help you with it and use maybe their saw that way you don't have to spend money. I also have a crowbar, and the crowbar is for like getting in here and prying these open if you need to. But in this case, I'm okay. I'm just gonna saw it off, the part that I need. Then the other thing I use is I have a pencil, and then I have gloves and safety glasses, which are very important. So you wanna have gloves, the pencil, and the safety glasses. I mean, really, you have to have safety glasses. And I'm using a face mask also. Now, this here is a square that will, when you measure your lines, well, you'll see me do that. I use a square to square it off to make sure that the line is straight. But if you didn't have a square, all of these tools are really old. My husband doesn't throw nothing away, so these things are like, boy, some of them, I don't know, maybe from the 60s. I can't even imagine how. And then if you don't have that, the square, or you don't have the other thing that I have, you could use a stick, because they're pretty straight too, so to draw that line. You know, I sew a lot, so for me the line's not a big deal, but I'm just showing you this if you don't, you know, draw lines very well or you have trouble with that. And then there's also this thing here, and what you do is you just lay it where you connect the dots, and then you just lift it up and it will pop. And when it pops, it leaves a blue line on there. And then there's refill powder for that too. This is ancient. Anyway, so let me do this and show you how this is working. I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way. And then for the sawhorse, I'm just using 3 milk crates. Don't have a sawhorse. So that's the one thing he didn't have. Or if he did, oh no, I think he did have it, and they got borrowed out from the son-in-law. So he's still using those. I mean, you can see he's at this thing. So I only want it to be 34 inches. And you try to use the best side. And in this case, you know, they're pretty much the same. So I'm just gonna start from there and go here. And this is a very simple project because I've never used the saw. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff before. Take toilets out and repair that when kids got those stuff. You know, when you had 7 kids, something was always going on, something was always going on. But I never really did the saw. I've done the drill. In those days, in the 70s, it was screwdriver time. Oh man, my hand would hurt with screwdrivers. And I've done sheetrock. I'm pretty good at sheetrock. Okay, so I marked that now. And so I'll just connect that line, or those dots, and then I will go straight across. And hopefully this will keep them from, oh, I need that pencil back. Hopefully this will keep those feral cats out. You know, we got about 14 feral cats around here. And so those guys, they need a potty box. And no, well, we don't want them there doing that potty box. That's not going to work. So let me stop there. Now let me show you what the stick would do. So the stick, and I'm going to use this side over here, the salvage side, where it's more for sure in line. Just light it up. So that would save you some money from buying that. I mean, goodness sakes, if you mess it up, it's just an old pallet. Big deal. You would just go down the road and find another one. Now, I will tell you something about pallets now. You go on the internet and you read about the pallets, and the pallets are stapled, or not stapled, they are printed on the side telling you what type of pallet, I mean, it is. And this one's okay because it's the garden thing. And the buckets are going to be sitting on top. Gosh, it's hard here. The buttons are going to be sitting on, the buckets are going to be sitting on top. So the buckets are not coming in contact with this here. I mean, like the food's not coming in contact with this. But you want to make sure that you get the right pallet. If you was building something that was like maybe for your pet, because a lot of people use these pallets for building things for the pet. So if you was doing something like that for a pet, you would want to get the ones that have been treated where they were okay to be around and touch and stuff. So it'll tell you on the side, this one says it's a MITS X86 property, but they usually tell you, but I know this is a bad pallet. I know, because it's used to bring in a bunch of other stuff that, you know, that's just junk stuff that they don't need to it's okay to be exposed to. So here's what you would do on this. You would have that like that, okay, and then you would bring it down, okay, and then you would pop it. Well, you gotta have a way of holding it, but it would pop like that, so it would leave a line, a blue purple line or blue line. And then this thing's so old, jeez. Then you would roll it back up, and you can get refiller chalk for it. I call it chalk. They say it's a chalk line reel, straight line. That's the real. I call it plumb line. I don't know, you know me. Dude, I come up with some crazy names for all kinds of things. Okay, so now we're gonna plug her in. Yeah, I think I got everything. Face mask. Now remember, this is a really old saw, so I want to make sure. Now, if you have never used a saw, don't just jump in your car, run down to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy a saw and go home. You need to probably take some classes. My husband gave me a mini class this morning, so I feel like I'm pretty much okay. We'll see how we do. Okay, so then at that point, you line it up with this line here for the line. Now you have a safety one, and you want to kind of stand away. And don't do like this and come back like that. Don't. You'll slice your leg right off or cut your vein open. You want to make sure that you're very careful with this, okay? What I'm supposed to tell you, so I'm not paying attention when I did, and I went off the line. That's okay, guys. It's just a pallet. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to correct my line. But I was thinking about, don't do this with your saw. Do not do that, because that's a good way of giving a kickback and cutting. Keep the saw down. Keep the saw down all the way down until you stop, and then you lift it up. Make sure it's off, because you don't want to get cut. So let me go back and see if I can correct this. Yay, I got it. So you want to pay attention to what you're doing. You see what I did? That's a no-no. You want to pay attention to what you're doing, because that's dangerous, okay? So now I'm going to take and lift it up and flip it over, and then I'll remeasure it and cut the other side. Woo. Some of these pallets are light, but this one's a very heavy one. And that's good, because, and you want to make sure you don't cut your milk crate. Okay. So, yeah, we're ready. Let me get the said about paying attention, not like what I was doing a while ago. Stop and I can move it away. But it has a guard, and that's very important. This is my first day, so I will get more. For me, it was kind of hard, because even though it's been 2 years, I still have issues with my left shoulder, because I broke the left shoulder here when I had my King sandals on, and the gay, you know how it has a little twisty thing on the bottom, it caught the edge of my sandal and pulled me forward and broke this shoulder in 3 places. So I still have trouble lifting that up, and any weight I have to be careful of. So that's how you do it. Now, if you want to, you can also take this like it is. You can make it shorter. You can cut it. You can cut this middle part out. You can do so many crazy things with the pallets. Wow. And hey, it's free. It's free, and it's a good project, you know, because now the gas prices and stuff, and everybody's kind of worried what's going on. You can make garden boxes. You can make so many wonderful things, and it's just a fun thing to do. So, anyway, let me stop the camera now, and I'm gonna go place this one and keep on going, and I'll get my buckets online, and I'll give you guys a flash of what it looks like. Okay, so I want to just add this. So before I take it over there to place it where it's supposed to be, now I want you to look at that. Now, that's okay for an amateur. I don't see anything wrong with that, you know. Here's the thing. You see how that looks, how nice that is? Do you know that you could put those pieces like that together and make a fence? If you was like at a homesteading place and stuff, and you know, you're scrapped on cash, but you need like a little fence to keep the chickens in or something, this is great because look, you could just, you know, put them together right here. But I'm telling you, you need to get on the internet and check out these things that you can make cool things with pallets. Okay, so I'm gonna go place it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over this last pallet here, and I want to explain to you about the plumb line or about the straight blue line, because I think that I maybe went too fast for that. So you see how that looks like that? Okay, it has a little hook thing here. That hook thing should be where your mark is at on your pallet. Like if you put it like that, and it holds it in place. Now, when you bring it down like this, then you take this little thing here and you turn it around where it's heavy enough, okay, that it comes down. And then I don't have a line there, but that's okay. You'll get the drift, okay? So you see, it's hanging like that. That's what you want. Then you're gonna take it and you're gonna hold it in place and you're gonna lift it. And that will make your straight line. So you see that? There's your line. Now, the other thing I want to mention to you that I didn't show you before. Okay, so now do you see that, how that looks? Kind of chewed up, huh? Well, that indicates that your saw blade is dull, which this thing is dull. It can't get any duller. It's like cutting it with a butter knife, I guess. Anyway, so when it's like that, then you need to know that, okay, you're gonna have to change that blade out. So watch for the cells coming from saw blades. And then, okay, so then you do that, all right? And when you're changing out the blade, there's instructions on how to change out the blade, but that's an indication there that, hey, that's looking rough. If you hit a nail, it's gonna be like that, but you're gonna damage your blade. You're gonna dull the blade. It's just like if you were sewing. You don't wanna run over needles, because that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, it's hard, you know, sometimes to see those things like that, because they've got so many nails sometimes in these pallets. But you wanna avoid nails and screws, okay? Now, to get these pallets and to take the pieces off, because some of my pallets are broke, and so what I'm going to do use for these pieces here of little small pieces that are messed up, I'm going to use those for tomato steaks. So I can get this crowbar in here, and if you get the crowbar in here and you put like up this way, it's kind of hard because this one's messed up, this pallet, but you put that crowbar, if you slide that crowbar, let me give you a better example. If you slide the crowbar up underneath here and you put like a little piece of wood like right in this area up underneath the crowbar, I'm trying to hold the camera, and you put pressure on it by snapping on with your foot, that will pop those right off. And then if you're very careful, once you pop those off, you can save those nails. And so, because nails are expensive, you know, so you can use those, reuse them again. But you see those pieces there that are broke? Those are going to be tomato steaks. That's what I'll use those for. So now, let's go over here and let me show you, to put this crowbar down, show you the final thing. I finished them all. And so that's how it came out. Let me give you a broad look, or a long look there. So I know my buckets don't match, and it kind of looks, you know, like, but not the best, you know. But you know what? This is behind the RV, and no one comes here our neighbors are dead cars that surround so close to us. You know, our rest of our neighbors are way in the back and stuff. And in our area, we live in a multi-language area. So we've got a lot of people with different languages spoke here, which is really nice. Some of those languages, you know, like Spanish and the Spanish, we can speak to them and stuff. And then, of course, you know, there's some East Indians in the back and everything. So it really makes it nice, you know, because you've got all these different cultures around you and stuff. And so everybody does their own little thing and stuff. And that little brown thing there, what that is, that little hut-looking thing, that's my husband. He and his cats. He loves these cats just like me. So that's their little shed where they could go into and eat their food and stuff. And then there's a little bed inside there. Also a big bed with the box and stuff that he made for them, so they can go in there and feel safe and stuff. So all of these buckets and things like that, I would just put them up there. And if I get more buckets, if I get more donated. Now, when you look here, there's a little bit of a gap. That's not going to bother. I mean, that's no big deal. I just put a bucket over that and go with it, you know. Look at all that. That's what, about 30 something feet here? Maybe, yeah, about 30, maybe almost 40 feet going down this way. No, it isn't. Yeah, it's about 30 feet. So I've got like 30 feet, and I just add buckets as, you know, as I do every year, like add more buckets and stuff. And the buckets last for quite a while too. And then that's the last part. Now this part here, I had to kind of piece it together, but it's fine, it's good enough. And it's strong, I can stand on it. I can walk on this thing. I can walk all the way down. And so it'll be just perfect for putting those flower pots and filling them up with dirt. And then after I did that, I borrowed a truck from my neighbor and went and got some dirt. I've been busy today. So there you can see, there's the pile of dirt. Not much of a dirt, that's a yard. Doesn't seem like it though. It seemed like we had more dirt last year. And so what, or a few years back, because we haven't bought dirt for a long time. Now that there, what I'll do, I'll straighten those pallets up, they're kind of crooked. But I'm gonna put those up against the fence and I'm gonna plant some peas there. So they'll just grow up. I don't have to worry about really just tying them up with a string. And that's our little dirt pile there. And these here are my neighbors. Meet my neighbors. They're short, white neighbors. This car here, what happened with it was we had a really bad windstorm here and rain and snow and stuff. Oh, it was horrible weather. And we had, to keep that trunk down, we had, what do you call it, a rim sitting on top. And it blew that trunk so bad that it took that rim and threw it through the back window and broke that window, blew it out. So anyway, but they use these cars for parts and stuff. Of course, the cats, this is their favorite car. The blue car is their favorite. They love that one. They'll go in the red one too sometimes, but their favorite's the red one. And that back there is my little compost box. And I got quite a bit of stuff in there already. So hopefully, you know, you have to wait a long time for compost to break down. But anyway, it's still good, you know? And so that's our little area. And that bicycle is a very old bicycle. I've had that bicycle, oh gosh, maybe 15, 16 years. The first time I bought it to, we had the care home, and a friend of ours was very sick at the nursing home behind our care home. And so I'd ride the bike over late at night to go visit him, and then back in the morning again. Anyway, so now let's go over and see these tomatoes that Ferris and I did. Look at those are pretty good. Oh boy, it's hot out here today. Well, I'm enjoying this because you know what, we have so much rain. This state has lots of rain. Okay guys, that's the end of my video today of the pallet, of the pallet garden with the buckets. Now you guys, if you've enjoyed this video today, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Thank you so much for watching my video today. You guys have a nice, beautiful day. Bye now.